like it's operating now. Well, good morning everyone. Thanks for joining. So this Monday morning class is a regular time slot that I teach at a local seniors community center. So it's going to be a more gentle practice. If you're a practitioner that likes a more heated practice, feel free to adjust as feels appropriate for you. We'll be doing lots of variations of poses with like knees down and things like that. If you're a seasoned practitioner, feel free to come to a greater intensity by lifting the knee, for example. Anyway, let's begin with an opportunity to turn the attention inward here, really connect with the breath, with sensation in the body, and really feeling an opportunity to become grounded in our seat. So find a comfortable seat, or if you prefer to start laying down, by all means do so. If you do choose to be seated, whether you want to sit in Sukhasana, seated easy pose, or take the legs out in front of you and just find a sense of ease. Really allowing the fullness of the breath, feel it coming all the way through the top of the chest, the center of the belly, deep into the belly. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes to bring the awareness inward. Feel a sense of groundedness in the seat, a sense of weight, allowing the gravitational force to really sink the pelvis. And also feel the natural lift and extension of the spinal column upward. Allow the shoulders to remain relaxed. Keep the chin parallel with the floor. Whenever possible in this practice, breathing through the nose on the inhale and the exhale. There may be certain points where we exhale through the mouth. Of course, modify as needed if you have any congestion, and of course breathe through the mouth, but if available to you, breathing through the nose. The nasal passage really allows an opportunity to warm the breath as it comes in before reaching the lungs. Observe the natural lift of the chest upward on the inhale. And on the exhale, it slightly recedes. In addition to being aware of that upward lift of the chest on the inhale, notice also the expansion of the rib cage, the barrel of the chest, really in four directions. Out to the sides, forward and back. Be aware breathing into the back body as well. If it helps to inform the awareness of this, feel free to bring the palms onto the lower part of the rib cage. Perhaps the fingertips are facing forward here. Or if it feels better for your shoulders, you can rotate the palms, the fingertips back. focusing the awareness of the breath also into the front of the ribcage and into the back. If you have, raise your hands and place the palms on the ribcage. Feel free to let them come back down to the legs, but maintain that sense of awareness of breath into the barrel of the ribcage in 4 directions. As we continue with this pranayama, the breath, the vital life force, I wanted to touch again on, briefly, on the first 2 limbs of the 8-limbed path, Ashtanga Yoga, as codified by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. The first 2 are the yams and niyams. They're sort of the ethics of yoga. There's 5 of each. You sort of think of them, the first 5 yams, as being external ethics, and the niyams as sort of the internal ethics. It's not aspects of the 8-limbed classical path of yoga that we typically talk about in a physical asana or postural yoga class. But especially in this day and age, where for the most part everyone is self-isolating, or some people may be in quarantine, there's been a lot of opportunity to explore these elements and aspects more deeply than in the everyday hustle and bustle of life. So one of the yams in Sanskrit known as svadhyaya is the concept of self-study. So of course we do that normally as we turn the attention inward. There's that sense of self-awareness. So there is a greater opportunity perhaps with more time in isolation, away from others, to have that greater sense of self-study, self-awareness. So maybe just continue to cultivate a greater sense of yourself, the awareness of self in this moment, focusing inwardly on the breath. Be aware of sensation in the body. Be aware of the quality of the breath. How does it feel today? And also the state of the mind. So while we are looking to quiet the busyness of the mind, the chatter of the mind in our yoga practice, we recognize it's not possible to entirely shut off the mind. That isn't the goal. Thoughts will come continually. What we're wanting to do is to remain in the present moment. Thoughts become a distraction of events of the past or projections into the future. And so rather than anchoring on to the thought, just acknowledging, oh, there's a thought, and let it go. We often hear this described like clouds in the sky. Your mind is a vast blue sky, overcast and stormy, lots of thoughts crashing. And that's okay if that happens. Just be at peace with what is as it is in the present moment. We're not trying to change it by blocking thoughts out. We just allow them to come and allow them to go. So that you keep coming back inward, keep focusing on the present moment, and focusing on that breath is an excellent tool to keep anchoring us back to the present when the mind becomes distracted of thoughts. Let's go ahead and bring our palms pressing gently together. Bring the thumbs toward heart center at Anjali Mudra. Gently pressing the palms together. There's a little bit of activation here, even rippling up the arms into the shoulders, so that even as you gently press the palms together, paradoxically, it's almost as if you're trying to pull the palms apart. But it's a sense of ease, not any sort of struggle or force in that. Again, feeling grounded in your seat, and lift through the spinal column. Excellent. So to start, we're going to begin with some nice, slow, gentle movements. Pressing the palms together, start to raise the hands up overhead. Stretching the arms, lengthening them up overhead. The gaze can follow the hands or just keep the chin parallel to the floor if that feels better for the neck. Now, rotating of the shoulders, palms will face outward. Reach and extend the arms in opposite directions, slowly lowering them back down to the floor. As the fingertips reach to the floor, again, rotated the shoulders, palms face upward now. Inhale the arms up overhead. Palms coming toward one another when the fingertips touch. Again, rotate the shoulders now, palms face out. Exhale, bringing the arms down to the side. A few more cycles like this, flowing with the rhythm of your breath. As you keep rooting through the sits bones, feel the spinal column extending upward. Again, exhale, you open the arms out to the side. So in addition to noticing the position of the hands changing, we're really looking to feel the humerus rotating in the ball and socket joint, and also observing what happens to the scapula in the back body. Notice that those shift position each time we rotate the shoulder joint. Excellent. Next time we arrive with the hands overhead, press the palms together, bringing them back down toward heart center. And now, as you separate the hands, palms both facing down, fingertips toward one another. Feel like you're pressing the palms down here. Or again, rotate palms face up and bringing them back up. As it reaches the heart center, rotate the palms to face down. So just working a little bit different part of the shoulder joint here. So the palms face down as you press down, turn the palms up as you lift the arms up. Beautiful. And the next time you arrive at heart center, let's bring the palms back together. Inhale the arms up overhead once more. Take the arms out to shoulder width. On an exhale, turn the torso over the right thigh. Lower the left hand down to the right thigh and let the right hand come close into the spine behind you, and then gazing over the right shoulder. So the hand behind you might be resting on the palm, or perhaps you're resting on tented fingertips. Whichever reaches the ground, see if you can press a little bit more firmly into that to give additional lift through the spinal column. Keep rooting through the sits bones. Again, the option to turn the head over the shoulder is just if it feels okay for the neck. You can certainly keep the chin directly over the sternum if that feels more comfortable for your neck. Following the next exhale, we're going to breathe the arms up overhead, come back to center. This time as you move toward the left-hand side, take the right hand down to the left thigh. Let the left hand come close into the spine behind you. Again, root down through the fingertips of the left hand or the palm to get additional lift through the spinal column as you gaze over the left shoulder. Keep breathing deeply into the depths of the lungs. If it assists on focusing that inward concentration, feel free to close the eyes as we all move through this. Once more on each side. Following the next exhale, we'll inhale the arms up overhead through center. Second time to the first side, the right hand side is the left palm, comes down to the right side, and again the right hand close behind. And now just turning the attention inward here. Keep the left palm on the right thigh and raise the right arm directly up toward the ceiling. Reach and extend. Feel the fingertips lift to the ceiling as the entire arm comes up right through the shoulder girdle. Feel as if the muscles all the way down to the waist are extending upward. There's always an option when the arms are raised overhead to turn the gaze up to the raised arm. As you keep rooting down through both sits bones, you might like to start arcing slightly toward the left-hand side, just feeling a greater openness in the right side of the body. If you have arced to the left side, inhale back to center. We're going to lower the right hand down to the ground. Open the left arm out to the side. Rotate the palm to face up. Bring the arm up and over. We're coming towards C-curve here. Now you want to ensure you're not collapsing into the right hand. You're just using it to brace yourself here. Reach and extend the left fingertips toward the wall on your right hand side. And really important, keep the left sit bone anchored down. If you notice it starts to lift, root it back down even if it brings you higher up. There's an option here to move the head slightly side to side. Just slowly moving the neck joints. So inhale the torso upright. Raise the right arm up to meet the left. Following that next exhale, we'll turn the torso to the left hand side. Bring the right hand down to the thigh, left hand close into the spine behind you. Second time on the left-hand side as you gaze over the left shoulder. Keep breathing deeply into the depths of the lungs. Keep the right palm on the thigh. Raise the left arm directly up toward the ceiling. Reach and extend the entire side of the body, lifting high. Option to turn the gaze to the raised hand. Either maintaining this hold or slight arcing over toward the right hand side, feeling a greater broadness and expansion through the left side of the body. Inhale the torso upright, lowering the left hand down to the ground. Now open that right arm out to the side, rotate the palm to face up, bring the arm up and over towards C-curve. Again, don't collapse into the left hand and keep the right sit bone anchored down. Reach and extend these right fingertips toward the wall on your left hand side. And again, an option to move the head ever so gently side to side. exhale, inhale our arms up overhead. And then let's bring them down to cactus arms, 90-degree angle, palms facing forward. Just keeping them neutral to begin with. Now imagine you're taking the elbows a little bit further toward the wall behind you and observe how the scapula are coming closer together in the back body. And then we'll bring the elbows together, hollow out the belly, arch the back, tuck the chin. Couple of breaths here. And now we'll take the elbows apart again. Take the elbows toward the wall behind you. Lead with the heart, sternum coming forward. Couple of breaths here. Again, on an exhale, bringing the elbows together in front of you again as you tuck the chin. Really notice how the back body is spreading wide here. Scapula coming apart. And then once more, taking the elbows toward the wall behind you. Now we'll flow with the rhythm of the breath. On the exhale, we'll bring the elbows together, tuck the chin, hollow out the belly. Inhale, take the elbows apart and lead with the heart center. Again, exhale, bring the elbows together. Notice you might be rocking somewhat on the pelvis, rocking backward on the exhale, rocking forward on the inhale. The chin comes off the chest, like gaze up to the ceiling on the inhale. Exhale again, bring the elbows together. Rock back on the pelvis, hollow the belly and tuck the chin. Inhale, elbows apart. One more time in each direction. Exhale, bring the elbows together. Inhale, elbows come to the side. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and bring the hands down in front of us. We can either roll over the knees or just take the legs up to the side. We're coming toward tabletop position. So remove any bolster or block you may have had underneath your seat. And as you find your way into tabletop position here, just keeping a neutral spine, the crown of the head reaching forward, the gaze looking directly down toward the ground. The toes can either be tucked with the toe tips on the floor, or let the shoelaces of the feet come on the floor, whatever feels best. And we'll continue with some extension and flexion of the spinal column, cat and cow now. As you press through the palms, arch the back, tuck the chin on the exhale. On the inhale, soften the belly, take the chin off the chest, crown of the head up toward the ceiling, slight gaze upward. Exhale again as you come toward cat pose. Inhale as you come toward cow. Flowing with your breath, exhale coming toward cat. Inhale coming toward cow. A few reminders, keep flowing now, rhythm of your breath. Exhale to cat, inhale to cow. Ensure you're spreading the fingers wide, pressing through all 5 fingertips. Also feel as if you're slightly pulling the fingertips back in the direction of the palm. You might then notice a slight lift in the middle knuckle. This just gives greater support in the hand, taking less pressure off the wrist. We don't want to be pressing through the center of the wrist. And assist in protecting the entire arm and shoulder girdle. So we keep the arms as straight as we can without blocking out the elbow joint. And then an external rotation of the humerus. So you may have heard this described as turning the elbow pits more forward than toward one another. Beautiful. We'll come back to a neutral tabletop position. And let's go ahead and come to child's pose. So you can either keep the knees together as you sink the buttocks back, or take the knees wide to the outside edges of the mat. If you do take a wide knee child's pose, keep the big toes touching. Lower the forehead toward the ground. If the forehead doesn't quite reach the ground, remember you can either rest the forehead on stacked fists or stacked palms, or if you have a block or blanket, some other item you might rest under your forehead. You really want to have a complete sense of rest and relaxation here. So if your head isn't resting on something, you're activating the muscles in the back of the neck. We want to be able to rest fully in our child's pose. Remember, always as an option, you can come toward alternate resting pose if child pose isn't available to you. Just keep the hips directly over the knees, and again, lower the forehead down to the mat. Just taking a few breaths here. And we'll come back up to our tabletop position. We're going to go ahead and take the right leg out behind us. Keep the hips squared off and parallel. Press evenly through the hands. Engage the muscles of the right leg, hugging the muscles to the bone. Activating the foot dorsiflexion, toes are pointing down. Keep the head facing directly down toward the floor, crown of the head reaching forward. Go ahead and lower that right leg down, raise the left leg up now, repeating this on the opposite side. Really reach and extend it out behind you. Crown of the head forward, gazing down toward the mat. Again, really hugging the muscles to the bone. We'll go ahead and lower the left knee down. We're going to raise the right leg up again this time. Now with the left hand, walk it forward on the mat. Either pressing into the palm to start, or come up onto tented spider tip fingers. You really want to feel an engagement in the core muscles here, the deep area near the belly button, but the deep, deep transverse abdominis muscles, engaging those. Option here to raise the left arm off the ground, palm facing inward. Just an option. Feel free to keep the fingertips on the ground. If the arm's raised, go ahead and lower it down. Bring it back underneath the shoulder and lower the knee down. We'll repeat this on the opposite side as you take the left leg out behind you to begin with just the leg. Reach it back, sole of the foot reaching to the wall behind you. Crown of the head reaching to the wall in front of you. Now slide the right hand forward, resting on the palm. And then coming up onto spider tip fingers. Keep hugging the muscles of the left leg around the bone. Option now to raise that right arm out in front of you, palm facing inward. Two more breaths. And lowering that right hand down, bringing it underneath the shoulder and lowering the knee. So just a quick reminder, in yoga, that's your practice. So modify as you need to. You can come to a rest whenever you need. You can modify a pose in any way that feels right for you. So feel free to adjust the practice to suit your needs in any given moment, on any given day, in any given practice. We're going to start again by raising the right leg up behind us. And again, either bring the left hand forward on tented fingers, or raise it off the ground, palm facing inward. Now a few little pulsations. We're going to bring the leg slightly in a few inches towards center and the left arm, and then take the leg out from center and the left arm up from center. Just a few times like this. Now, I'm just demonstrating. If you need to have a glance forward, just come down onto hands and knees and see what I'm saying. Okay, beautiful. Go ahead and lower the left hand and the right leg. And we'll repeat that on the opposite side as you raise the left leg out behind you. Again, either right fingertips on the ground or raise it out in front of you, palm facing inward. If your right hand is on the ground, then just moving the left leg back and forward a few inches towards center line and away from center line. If the arm is raised, move it in the opposite direction to the same degree. Again, now go ahead and lower the right palm and the left leg. Now as you raise the right leg up behind you, option to raise the left arm or just bring the fingertips forward. We're going to come to cat and cow like we did earlier on tabletop, but now
As you arch the back and tuck the chin, you bring the knee under the chest. And as you inhale, straighten the leg out behind you. If the arm is off the ground, you bring the elbow toward the knee. And as you inhale, you take the arm forward as you take the leg back. A few cycles with your breath here. And modify as needed. You can certainly keep that hand on the ground and just bring the knee under the chest. Beautiful. 2 more. And we'll go ahead and lower the hand and the leg. This time lifting the left leg up behind you. Take the right arm out in front of you. Holding steady here now. And if the arm is on the ground, it's perfectly fine just to bring the knee under the chest on the exhale. We're going to come toward some cat crunches, cat and cow in sunbird, rather than in our tabletop position. So if you've got the arm raised, elbow and knee come together, and then stretch the limbs in opposite direction. Remember, always an option, keep that hand on the ground, just bring the knee underneath. Four more. Beautiful. Go ahead and lower the right hand and the left knee. Let's go ahead and come to child's pose for a few breaths here. Child's pose or alternate resting pose. So our spadhyaya, our sense of self-study, one of the niyamas, which is again one of the 8 limbs of classical yoga. Self-study, so really attuning inwardly now to your truth. What are you feeling? Sensation? Where it's the state of the mind, observing the quality of the breath. Really getting a greater sense of understanding ourselves, how we respond or react if we have any sort of automated behaviors, examining what are these motivations, what is our driving motivation. So we're going to prepare as we exit down table, child's pose, coming through table, up toward downward dog. So remember to tuck the toes, keep the knees bent, activate pressing through the full palm, spreading the fingers wide in that external rotation of the upper arm bone. Keep the arms straight and lift the hips back. So they're coming more back than up. We want to make sure we come toward an inverted V and that the weight isn't coming forward with the shoulders over the wrists. Keep pulling the hips back. Take a moment to walk the dog now. So you drop one heel, you bend the opposing knee. And then moving to the opposite side and moving really slowly here, just observing sensation in the back of the leg. You might feel some sensation in the calf. You never want to push here. You want to feel some sensation, but not going beyond your edge. Remember, you're in the driver's seat, so always come down to child's pose or just drop the knees momentarily whenever you're called to. We come to a neutral downward dog. We'll raise the right leg up behind us, 3-legged dog. Where you can extend the leg behind as you lift the heel high to the ceiling. And then we're going to bring that foot forward and rest the sole of the foot on the mat near the front, near the right thumb mount. You might need to walk it several steps forward or just swinging it through. Take as long as you need to come with the sole of the foot on the ground. The forward knee is directly over the forward ankle. Keep the shin bone perpendicular to the floor. Resting the hands on the ground, lifting that back thigh high, the back shin high. Keep the crown of the head reaching forward. Lifting high onto the left tiptoes. And now we'll go ahead and lower the left knee down to the ground. And option to inhale your torso upright is to bring the palms onto the thigh. And either hold in here or take the arms out to the sides at shoulder height. Rotate the palms to face up and bring the arms overhead. Connecting with the breath, anchoring into the present moment.
Okay, so I'm clearly having technical issues today with this class, so I'm trying a different method to tape it. I'm not even sure if I've got the framing quite right. I apologize for the trouble, and I'll certainly get this sorted out for the next sessions. In the meanwhile, bear with me. Okay. Great. Still, oh, cut out again. Might be the Wi-Fi. Might be too many people at home overloading the networks. Okay. Just be a moment here. Actually, let's try to sing a little different. Monty Python now for something completely different. There we go. Okay, well, hopefully this is going to work. Hey, this is how things go. So we were repeating the last side from downward dog forward to the left leg, and we're going to repeat that on each side again, particularly since you might have been cut off while we were doing this.
So we're going to come back toward child's pose momentarily, 2 breaths, and then lift up into downward dog. We're going to repeat again with the right leg firstly. So in your downward dog, really again, lift the hips back, lift out of the palms, raise the right leg out behind you, and bring it forward as many steps as you need it. Bring the sole of the right foot by the right thumb out. High runner's lunge. Really feel a long line through the body as the crown reaches forward. The heel reaches to the wall behind. Lift the left shin high. Go ahead and drop the left knee. Inhale the palms up onto the thigh. Arms can come out to the side again. Palms face up. Inhale the arms overhead. Reach and extend. And as we prepare for our twist, turning the torso to the left-hand side, arms out at shoulder height. Lowering the left hand to the left thigh, right palm to the small of the back. Variations, if you're wanting to amp your practice up, are to tuck the back toes, lift the leg off the ground, and or come to revolved prayer twist. These are just options if that's in your practice. Remember, a sense of ease. We don't want to be struggling. You don't need to push yourself beyond your edge. Feel a sense of connectivity inwardly, the breath, the awareness, the state of the mind. If the breath ever becomes labored, back up. We're going to bring the hands back to heart center. As you lower the palms, we're going to tuck the back toes, take the right leg back to meet it. High plank position. Remember again, modification for high plank is to drop the knees and keep the activation in the arms, lifting out of the palms. Rather than lifting the hips back, modify by dropping the knees. Otherwise, keep one straight line from the back of the head down to the heels. Drop the knees and come to child's pose. Holding in child's pose a few breaths. So make sure we're still active here. Apologies today for the connection issues. So from child's pose, we're going to repeat on the left-hand side as we come back up to down dog. This time raising the left leg up behind you. Reach and extend the leg behind. Bringing the sole of the left foot toward the left thumb mound. High. Runner's lunge. Lift that back, shin high. Crown of the head forward. Go ahead and drop the right knee. Inhale the hands onto the thigh. Arms out to the side, rotate the palms to face up and inhale them overhead. And we'll prepare for our twist here, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, lower the right hand onto the thigh, left to the small of the back. Modify as appropriate for your practice in any way that feels suitable. Connect with the breath. We're going to bring the hands back to heart center. As we put the palms on each side of the foot, tuck the right toes, take the left leg back to meet the right. High plank position, couple of breaths here. Modify as needed by dropping the knees. And then we'll press back to down dog, and then standing on the feet, walking the hands back toward the feet to come into a hanging forward fold. So standing squarely on the feet, let the spinal column spill forward, arms hanging heavy like empty coat sleeves. Fingertips either coming to the toes or reaching in that direction. Let the back of the head relax by allowing the back of the neck to relax. Allow the head to hang heavy. We'll bend the knees deeply. Feel the belly resting on the thighs. Keep the chin tucked to the chest. We're going to ragdoll upward. As we root through the feet, we're going to press and rise to standing, unfurling the vertebra one at a time. Move slowly here. Let the arms hang heavy like empty coat sleeves. As you rise up towards standing, rising at mountain, the chin is the last part to come off the chest. And standing near the front of your mat. Beautiful. Rooting down through the feet. So inhale the arms up overhead, reach and extend the fingertips up toward the ceiling. And letting the hands come down to heart center. So we're going to come toward warrior two. So as you're standing at the front of your mat in mountain pose, root through your left foot. We'll take the right leg back behind us, turn it out at a 45-degree angle. Remember to keep that forward knee directly over the forward ankle. Inhale the arms out to the side at shoulder height. And then turn the gaze over the forward middle finger. Soft, gentle gaze. Keep the torso perpendicular to the floor. So just observe if you start leaning a bit forward or possibly backward to bring it directly parallel to the floor. There's more weight on the outer edge of the back foot than on the front foot, and make sure you're not crunching into the toes of the front foot. Squarely on the four corners of the foot, big toe mound, little toe mound, inside and outside edges of the heel. Really connecting with the breath. Reach and extend the fingertips in opposite direction. Breathe deeply here.
Coming to exalted warrior, rotate that forward palm, raise the arm overhead, drop the back palm onto the back thigh, reach and extend the left fingertips up overhead. Once more, either gaze directly forward or raise the gaze up to the raised arm. Let's bring the arms back out at shoulder height, warrior two once more. We're going to prepare to come to warrior side angle. So you can rest the left palm on the left thigh, raise the right arm directly overhead. Open the right shoulder toward the wall behind you. There's an option to bring the right arm alongside the right ear. If there's space available to you while maintaining the torso facing the wall directly in front of you, you can lower down onto a bent elbow. But press the bent elbow on the thigh. Breathing deeply here, connect with the breath. We'll lift ourselves back up to warrior two, arms out at shoulder height. We're going to prepare for a triangle pose here. You might want to walk your feet a little closer together as we straighten that forward leg. Remember to keep a micro bend. Don't lock out the knee joint. Reach forward with the left fingertips. Rotate the palms. Lower the back of the left hand to the inside of the left leg and raise the right arm directly overhead. Either keeping neutrality in the neck or the gaze can go up toward the raised hand if that feels okay for your neck. Keep this right shoulder open toward the wall behind you. Make sure you don't start to have it come forward at all. If there's real tightness and tension in the shoulder, you can always bend the elbow and bring the hand to the small of the back, but again, keep the shoulder toward the wall behind you. If you have rested the hand on the small of the back, bring it up overhead temporarily to lift ourselves up from triangle and sink back down into warrior two. We're going to straighten that forward leg, rotate that left foot to face forward, and rotate that right foot to the back edge of your back mat. And sink down now into warrior two on the opposite side. Again, more weight on the outer edge of the back foot than the front foot. Make sure you're not collapsing your weight into the forward leg. Make sure the toes are able to lift momentarily here so that you're sure you're squared off on the four corners of the foot. Reach and extend the arms in opposite direction. Keep that torso perpendicular to the floor. Crown of the head reaching up, chin parallel to the floor, gazing over the forward middle finger. Reach the fingertips in opposite direction. Breathe here. And experimenting with your own edge. If you're feeling a sense of struggle here, bring the legs a little bit closer together. And if you're really not feeling anything, see if you can experiment by taking that back leg a bit further back. If you're adjusting your legs, make sure that forward knee doesn't come ahead of the forward ankle. For exalted warrior, rotate the forward palm. Drop the back palm onto the back thigh. Raise the forward arm up overhead. Steadiness of mind, connected with the breath, anchored into the present moment. Self-study, sadhyaya, examining inwardly. Arms coming back down to warrior two, preparing for warrior side angle. Rest the palm on the thigh, other arm directly overhead. Option to bring the arm alongside the ear. Option to bend the elbow, bring it down to the rest on the thigh.
Keep the torso directly toward the wall in front of you so that left shoulder open to the wall behind you. If you do notice the torso start to turn toward the floor or the left elbow, left shoulder coming forward, then back up, come up higher, resting the palm on the thigh, and keep focusing on that shoulder to the wall behind you. And we'll lift ourselves back up to warrior two again. The arms are out at shoulder height. Gaze over the forward middle finger. Now, as we prepare for Trikonasana, triangle pose, straightening that forward leg, micro bend in the knee, reach forward with the right hand, rotate the palms, bring the back of the right hand to the inside of the right leg, raise the left arm directly overhead, and extend the fingertips up overhead. And again, there's always that option to bend at the elbow and rest the palm on the small of the back as you continue to take the left shoulder to the wall behind you. And lifting from those upper fingertips, bringing yourselves back down to warrior two. Straighten that forward leg. Turn the foot to the front edge of the mat, the arms out to the side. So the toes are slightly turned inward here. We're going to come toward a hanging forward fold. Lower the palms to the hip crease. You can always bend the knees here if that's better for your back, or if you have tight hamstrings today. We're going to start to hinge at the hips and lead forward to the heart center, coming down toward parallel. We pause here momentarily with the torso parallel to the floor. So rooting through the feet. The sits bones are going toward the wall behind. The crown of the head is extending forward, triangulated in our stance. As you begin to slide the palms down the legs, start to fold forward more deeply. Crown of the head is coming in the direction of the mat. The hands might stop partway down the legs, or maybe they reach the ankles, or you can also take peace fingers around the big toes. If either of those two options is available to you, bend the arms, elbows up toward the ceiling. And then bringing the palms up again to the hip crease with engaged deep core abdominal muscles here, slowly lifting upright again. Coming back up toward standing. You can release the hands, and then we're going to heel toe the feet inward here. And bring the feet together to come standing right underneath us. So one balancing pose here will come toward tree pose, Vrikshasana. So again, root down through the four corners of your right foot, lift on the tiptoes of the left foot, and open the hip out to the side. Maintaining the integrity of the standing leg, hug the muscles to the bone, and maintain the openness in the hips. Either keep the foot resting on the ground, toes on the ground, heel pressing into the leg, or you can take the sole of the foot onto the leg, either at the calf or the inner thigh. Always avoid placing it on the knee directly. And then the hands, perhaps they come toward heart center at Anjali Mudra. Or you might like to bring them up overhead toward the ceiling. We find a drishti gaze here, so you might utilize a non-moving focal point several feet in front of you. But the drishti is this focused concentration inwardly here that allows that sense of steadiness of mind, even if the body is wavering in any way. Remember always it's perfectly fine to go toward the wall and utilize one hand there just as a gauge of protecting from toppling. Feel free to do so. Bringing the hands down to heart center.
Go ahead and release the leg, and you can shake it out or any other movement that brings a sense of comfort and ease as we prepare to move to the opposite side and root down through the left foot, tiptoes of the right foot, and open the hip up to the side. Remember to keep that engagement, the standing leg here. If at any point you notice the standing leg, the hip starts to pop out a little bit, just back up to a level, maybe bring the foot back to the ground if you've raised it. Also keeping the hips open here toward 90-degree angle. So if you raise your foot up to the calf and the knee comes forward, I might recommend just bring the toes back down to the ground and work on opening the hips. If you do choose to raise the leg again, remember to avoid the knee. If you've rested the sole of the foot on the leg, really press the foot into the leg and the leg back into the foot, creating that adduction, that inward motion, pulling. Bring the hands again either to heart center or alongside the ears. Again, focusing on a drishti, sense of ease and steadiness of mind. As you bring your hands back down, go ahead and release the legs. We're going to come down onto our mats toward a seated position. So one seated forward fold. If you have tighter hamstrings or tightness in the low back, you might like to raise the hips. You can sit on a blanket or a block. If, regardless of whether you're sitting on a block or sitting flat on your mat, walk the flesh off the sits bone so you really feel that firm connection in the ischial the anatomical term of them. Keep the legs forward, straight, engage. Hug the muscles to the bone, activate the feet. Take the arms alongside the body, palms pressing down, fingertips facing forward, and utilize that, perhaps either the palms or untended fingers, to again give additional lift through the spinal column as you root down through the sits bones, crown of the head reaching up to the ceiling, heart center leading forward, staff pose, very engaged here, really activating the muscles, hugging them to the bone. Inhale the arms up to the side, palms face up and bring them alongside the ears. As we prepare for our forward fold, remember you can bend the knees if you're concerned about your low back or hamstrings today. Remember we're coming toward a 90-degree hinging at the hips. So rather than trying to envision getting your chest down to your legs, feel that you're bringing the heart center forward and come to that point of first resistance where you start to feel sensation wherever it arises, whether it's in the back, the low back, the hamstrings. Just pause where you feel the point of first resistance and breathe. Breathe here. Keep lifting the torso out of the pelvis. If there's space on the breath to come another millimeter forward, do so. If you're at the edge, then allow the arms to come down to the side. One of my teachers reminds me that we ideally should call these in English forward extensions rather than folds. Folds gives us the idea we're trying to reach our legs. We're extending the spinal column out of the pelvis here. So extend forward and lead with the sternum. Ooh, it's engaged muscles here. Walking the hands back up toward upright. And we're going to come down onto our backs now. So again, if you've got a block, you can move that out. Otherwise, just sliding forward as you lower down onto your back. Soles of the feet flat on the floor as you bend the knees. Arms alongside the body. One brief bridge here. So rock the pelvis in the direction of the head to feel the spine fully flush with the mat. There's no curve. You wouldn't be able to slide anything underneath your back. Arms resting alongside the body, palms facing down, fingertips coming toward the heels. Keep the knees hip width apart, the feet facing directly forward, and begin to peel the buttocks off the mat as you lift the hips up toward the ceiling. The weight is 95% in the feet and the upper back. Don't turn the head side to side in a position like this where there's any ounce of pressure on the back of the head.
Lift the hips higher up toward the ceiling and slightly forward toward the direction of the wall in front of your legs. Minor inversion, just to take the heart precedent over the head, raising the heart. As we begin to slowly lower the buttocks back to the ground, one vertebra at a time. Beautiful. And then taking the knees off the ground, hugging them into the chest, the feet off the ground, and hug the knees. Gentle rocking side to side. As you release the knees, put the soles of the feet flat on the ground. Take them out to the outside edges of the mat. The arms can either come out in a T formation or cactus arms, whatever feels good for the shoulders. And begin to drop the knees from one side to the other. Slowly windshield wipering the legs. Maybe the head goes in the opposite direction, looking over the opposite shoulder from which the direction of the knees are. And then eventually we'll drop the legs over toward the right-hand side, and the gaze could go over the left shoulder. If you want a little additional sensation here, you can take the right foot off and rest the right ankle just at the base of the left thigh, just above the left knee. Just creating a little additional twist. You might feel more sensation in the hip flexors here. Just an option. You can certainly keep both feet on the ground. If you have crossed the legs, go ahead and uncross it. Bring the head back to center, bring the legs up and drop them now over to the left-hand side, gazing over the right shoulder. Once again, you might choose to raise that left foot off the ground, bring the left ankle onto the right thigh for a little bit deeper sensation in the hip flexor. Bring the head back to center and cross the legs. Bring the legs back upright. Bring the soles of the feet together, coming toward goddess now. Soles of the feet are pressing together. The knees are splaying out toward the side. The arms might be alongside the body or bending at the elbow, and rest the palms on the belly. If you're feeling excess sensation on the inner hip joint or in the groin area, you can always take the feet further away from the perineum. We'll hold here for about another 25 seconds. If this doesn't feel really nice for your hips, there's an option to take a counter movement with them. Bring the knees back up together. Take the soles of the feet to the outside edges of the mat and drop the knees in toward one another. It's just an option here. Or perhaps you prefer to remain in goddess. Another 15 seconds, bringing the attention inward. And we'll bring the knees up together again here. So we're just going to prepare for Shavasana. So if you'd like to come on to the back and stretch the legs out in front of you, maybe you want to grab an article of clothing or a blanket just to make sure that you feel very warm and comfortable and not any sort of sense of draft.
So we're coming toward the end of the 75 minutes. I'm going to leave you in Shavasana, and you're welcome to stay here as long as feels appropriate for you. I will walk us through just a little bit of inward focus, and feel free to stay there for 15, 20 minutes longer if it feels appropriate. So as you find your way on your back, really feeling a sense of sinking and release, a real letting go. Sense of collapse, feel gravity weighing you down. Even more than that, imagine the bones were lead weights sinking into the ground. A sense of release, relax, complete ease. Scan your awareness through the body. Observe if there's any area that you're still holding some tightness or tension. Is there any area that you can invite a little more spaciousness, a little more opening, a little more rest? Bringing the attention to the third eye, just between the two eyebrows, a few inches into the skull. It's near the areas of the brain responsible for our rest and digest, our parasympathetic nervous system, near the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the hippocampus. Just focus that inward attention here. Focusing in the present moment. So as we approach the 75-minute mark, we'll go ahead and log off. And again, an invitation to stay in Shavasana as long as feels good for you. I recommend 15 or 20 more minutes. I'll close for now, saying Jabakwan and Namaste. Thank you for joining. I look forward to seeing you again on Friday at 9:30 and next Monday at 9:30. Peace.